So, well, to class, Bob.
To class. Oh, I thought you were toasting or something.
No.
Oh, crap. Dang it. So I was hoping to add the buttons into here, but I didn't do the research, and I don't have time now. Or maybe I just have to. I was going to add the same button I used on Tree of Life just because that's, it's a known quantity,
button, yeah.
right?
Yeah. Isn't it already in KiCad?
I don't think so. What I have in I got the other laptop with the Tree of Life on it, and it's listing the part as a TS1187A.
There might be another part number for it, but
TS1187A CCB.
Wow, it's very specific.
oh, look at that. There's the data sheet for it.
And there's so many switches. I guess we could go through the process of finding it and importing it, right?
Well, I don't think you even need to import it. What I would actually do, Bob, is pull up the footprint editor. You're not going to actually edit, but just pull up the footprint editor and go to buttons.
Oh, and just find one that looks the same?
Find one that has the same general layout.
Okay.
And it'll get us really, really close for the purposes of everything we're going to do tonight.
Browse footprint libraries, or
yeah, you can just use that thing right there that you've got open.
Okay.
And then I don't know if it's under buttons. I think it's under buttons.
Okay, I just hit the zoom button so that it's more visible. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's
right,
a battery holder.
Button switch SMD.
Yep.
And it's definitely not a dip. Push 1P, 1T. That looks reasonable.
That looks really, yeah, that is that, and that's an SMD one, yeah. So the only thing you'd want to do at some point is just get the measurements of that and compare it to the one on the Tree of Life.
Yeah. All right. I won't take up class time with this. I just want to have a button in place to do this with, right?
Which one is that, Bob?
6x6, H9.5, a 9.5 millimeter high button. Really?
That doesn't sound right.
That sounds like a very large button. Maybe it's just got an extended.
It's got a really tall stem on it, which you probably don't want.
So I'll go to the one above that. No CK KMR2 XXG. And it looks smaller, and smaller is what I had. So
yeah.
I know my buttons were not 6 millimeter buttons. So I'll choose that. And then what? Just
well, now you've got a button, so now you can just put a symbol on your schematic. Oh, you've already got the symbol on your schematic, or don't you?
I don't have a symbol because I didn't know what to choose.
Oh, okay, well, so just grab a.
So it's 1P, 1P. I'm sorry. What was the part again? Just so.
I'm going to go back to the schematic view and add it here first because
yeah.
I'm assuming if it's in footprints, it's in symbols also. So
okay,
I'm going to find it in here, and I hope y'all are playing along.
Yep.
This is catch up. This is catch up from me being unprepared last week.
You're probably going to need to just grab a generic button.
Push.
Yeah.
But that's only 2 connectors. I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think you'll find on that footprint that they tie those together.
Okay. That'll work then. Okay. So I'm choosing that. Okay. And I'm going to add 2 of them. I'll just copy it. Escape. Nope. Clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. Control C, Control V. All right.
There you go.
And so the plan for this evening was to, first of all, catch up by putting the buttons on. and then go as deep into design as everyone feels like they have time for. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know if you guys are feeling it, or if the future viewers would be feeling it, but do you think we want to throw on some capacitive touch buttons as well? And
Yeah, we get to learn that.
you know, it might be useful for whatever you're designing, and there's a
Sure.
lot of cool things you can do with them. And we have a lot of extra GPIOs, so. All right. So there's those two that we know how to work, right? And the other ones just require some, slightly more advanced coding to get to work. But once you wire them, you know they're going to work. So yay. All right. And so I guess it doesn't really matter direction, right? These aren't polarized, right? So I'm just going, am I right, Braden?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
So
gonna
I'm
time
just-
the ground.
Just we'll do with labels because I love labels. Labels are the best. Less work on less mess on the screen. So we'll call it button 1 and rotate it twice so that the anchor's on the right. And we'll put that one on GPIO 0. And then button 2, again, rotate, put that on GPIO 1. And then we will copy, paste onto one side there. Copy, paste over there. And then we'll copy and paste ground to the other side of both of these. Everybody with me?
Yeah,
Mhm.
just hold on, just slow.
Yeah, take your time. I want to pull up the Terra badge on my other screen so that I get the wiring right for the capacitive.
You should also stick a cap on the between VDD and VSS on at least the first NeoPixel.
I wanted to ask, the battery, you have the positive terminal going into VBus. Is that intentional? Correct.
Let me pull into the.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
Where's my goddamn tree of life? All right, open project. One thing you want to learn, because I didn't, is organizing your documents and your project files so that you know where to find them when you're in a hurry. Yeah, I did not do that. So I honestly don't know where my tree of life is. I thought it would be in recent because I thought I just closed it.
So while Bob is
Terra badge. That's why I'm looking for the wrong thing, dumbass. Okay, go on.
while Bob is hunting for that, I'm going to toss out a few shortcut keystrokes here. So in a schematic, there's no notion of top and bottom and flipped and all that junk. And so you could theoretically, if it made more sense, if we're looking at, say, the SSD 1306 symbol, right? If you wanted all those pins to be on the other side, you can do that. And so Bob has, used many times, he's used the letter R to rotate something around. You can also flip it on the X and flip it on the Y by using X or Y. So if you were to select any one of these, so as an example, you could actually select all of the SSD 1306, or you could even, select all the buttons and now hit X, and you'll see that it just, everything got reversed. You can do X again and it puts them back. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes that can be useful because I've seen a few places where I've brought in a large chip, and it would be like you see here with the Pico, the small number GPIOs are one side, right? But when I was doing, for instance, the SAMD21, almost all the pins were on one side and a few pins were on the other side. But it turned out that all the pins were on the left and I really wanted them all on the right. So I just simply selected that symbol, that one symbol, and hit X, and it just flipped all the pins to the other side so I could make my diagram easier to wire up.
Yeah. That's cool.
We did not include a power switch. Do we want to include a power switch?
Yes, you do. And there is another case where flipping things can be kind of easy. So let's say, for instance, you're going to go into the process of wiring all of this up and you find out, I could avoid a bunch of vias if my buttons were flipped. So instead of button 1 and button 2 being on GPIO 0 and 1, you want button 2 and button 1. Well, if you select button 1 and button 2 symbols together and hit Y, it'll leave them in place and flip the order. So it's an easy way to be able to flip a whole group of pins. In this case, it's probably not as big a case, but when you start getting into like discrete LEDs or lots of individual LEDs, you may find that you've assigned them sequentially to say, GPIO 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then when you go to do the routing, it'd be a whole lot easier if they were the other way around. You can just go back to the schematic, select them, hit Y, it'll flip the order of all of them, and then you go and do update on the PCB, and now the pins are mapped differently and you can go through the process of wiring it up. So there are times when being able to flip X and Y comes in handy to reorder things to make routing easier on the other side. Just remember that once you've changed the pin assignments in your schematic and then on your PCB, you need to make sure you use the same pin assignments when you write your code.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was looking at the switch, and the switch I used for the Tarot badge, which is, if it's not the same, it's very similar to the one from Tree of Life, is the MSK12CO2, which of course is not in the default libraries.
Actually, there is one in the default library. It's a single pole double throw SMD, and there aren't too many of those.
Does JLC stock it?
It's a common part. I mean,
Okay.
I've gotten it. It comes by many, many different part numbers.
Okay.
It's the exact same switch.
So for symbol purposes, that's fine. But when we get to the other side, we want to be able to place it, right?
Yeah, and I was going to tell you what the footprint is.
Okay. All right. So let's place it. What is it?
So add a symbol that's a single pole double throw. There you go. Perfect. Stick that somewhere.
What did you just do?
So I just had place and symbol,
Mm-hmm.
and then I typed in SPDT for single pole double throw. And that's just a generic electrical symbol for that switch,
Okay.
for that style of switch.
All
Yep.
right.
And so now you can cancel out of the add box. And if you select the symbol and hit F for footprint, and now tab to the little, okay, 3 books standing up next to each other. There you go. Give it a second. There you go.
And what are we looking for this?
It's a little hard to see there.
Yeah, so zoom it up a little bit.
There we go.
So at this time, I'm using the scroll wheel to do that.
You're looking for a single pole double throw that has 4 pins on it, or has 3 pins on it. 2 of them are close together, and then there's a big gap, and one's a little further apart. Yep, there it is.
Okay.
That one's it. And then it's got the 4 ends are for soldering it down and holding it in place.
So what is that? SMD PCM12?
Yeah, PCM12.
Okay.
That's a pretty generic part.
Okay.
Okay, so now we've associated that footprint with this symbol.
Yep.
Let's wire it in. Should we? Oh, I always forget these things.
Battery to pin 2.
battery to pin 2. So we'll take V-bus off of here.
Yeah, make that pin 1. Just move that up to pin 1. And create a new symbol called bat.
There
you go.
And put that on 2 and on positive.
Yep, and you're done.
So you added a net label called bat.
Oops, do that. Yes. Just for the path that leads from the battery positive to the switch.
Okay.
And I'm guessing because it's 3 connectors that if I wanted it to power something else instead of this, I could connect something up here.
Yep,
Instead of
or-
just on off, we could go like
Yep.
on 1 or on 2.
Yeah, or you could flip that around such that battery was on 1 and some other voltage power source was on 3 and V-bus was on 2, and then it's always powered, but it's either powered by the battery or powered by something else.
Which might come in handy if we pull the USB port off with a 2040 design.
Yeah.
Okay.
Though you're going to do that electrically instead of through a switch. You use a MOSFET,
Okay.
but that's
Oh,
down
great.
the road.
More learning. I don't want to learn more stuff. All right. So everybody caught up?
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Somewhat? You want me to hang?
No, keep going.
Okay.
At the
So-
worst, I can refer back to these videos. So
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the PCB design, right? I don't need anything else here. Oh, did we want to put the touch buttons in? Let's put some touch buttons in.
Yep. Need a resistor.
1 meg, right?
Yep.
So let's just do six of them, because why not? They're almost free. Resistors haven't hit the chip
No,
shortage, right?
they're cheap. I think I pay. I don't know if I pay 0.9 cents a piece or less for them.
Okay, so when you're choosing the symbol for the resistor, it's just R.
Yep.
And I like to rotate them this way. And we're going to add like 6 of them. So I'll put 1 here. And then what is the value of it? It's 1 meg, right? So it's
1 meg.
double click it and value goes here.
Yep. And while you're at it, you might as well give it a footprint. So when you copy and paste it, it already has all
Right.
that done it.
So footprint, everybody catching up, caught up?
Footprint.
This is where we make choices.
Yeah.
So we're assigning a footprint to the resistor, and since we're not doing this by hand, we can go small but not too small. So like 0603?
Yep.
Okay. So you would go to resistor, SMD, and there's an R0603, the 5th one down for me.
What's it? R603, 1608 metric.
Yep.
Yep.
And if you do that on the first one, then you can just clone it, and you don't have to do it to all of them.
Matter of fact, if you want to make this even easier, the next thing to do is to finish out the touchpad associated with it, and then you can clone the whole thing.
All right. Show me how to finish the touchpad.
Okay, click OK here. We're going to do this with keystrokes because that's the way I do things. A for add. And then search down for touch point. All one word, sorry.
I get nothing.
Oh, sorry, test point. My apologies. Test point. There you go. That's what you want right there.
What is this now? I'm confused on what
So
this is.
it's so a test point traditionally is a small exposed pad on a PCB that allows somebody to put a probe in to test it when they're manufacturing, when they've assembled something, if it's working correctly. The great thing about a test point is it's a single pin component or symbol. So for our purposes, we use a test point, but then we're going to assign it a footprint of a pad big enough to touch.
So this is interesting because I didn't do any of this last time. I just manually drew the wires in.
Yep.
Okay, so where do I put that?
Rotate it and attach it to the end of the 1 meg resistor.
To this end?
Yeah.
Doesn't
you go.
oh, the resistor also gets tied to ground, right?
Yes.
On this end? Or-
Resistor to ground. Oh, no. Rotate your resistor.
Oops.
Does it matter which?
Rotate the resistor down. There you go. Attach it now to the end of the test point.
Well, I want my resistors to be horizontal.
Then your test points need to be vertical.
Okay. But I don't like that. Okay. That's fine. And then ground goes here.
No, this is why I was going to have you rotate the resistor.
Okay. Ground goes here.
Ground goes over on that end.
Okay. Let me just move the whole thing over a little bit to make a little room.
This is why I was going to rotate the resistor down.
I don't want to, because I'm going to put 6 of them in close succession.
I know. So yeah, so what you need to do then is you also, so put ground on that end.
I could just do one ground and just tie it all together.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
But you need to now create a label for whichever GPIO pin you're going to use for this.
right.
Okay,
So-
I'm going to give you another quick trick.
Uh-huh.
Instead of continually going over to create one, take that ground and make a copy of it.
Uh-huh.
Paste your copy. Okay, now double click that and type in touch 1.
Oh, okay. Shoot.
There you go.
Okay, and that'll be on both sides of this.
It needs to be between the test point and the 1 meg ohm resistor, and it needs to be on a GPIO pin.
I'm confused on what you're doing right now. You're not explaining it very well.
I'll be right back.
Okay, so while Bob is figuring this thing out, so
I'm not figuring anything out. You got to tell me what,
okay,
because I thought I was putting it here. I'm not putting it here.
no, so again, this is why I suggested you rotate the resistor, because then everything will look pretty obvious. I know you don't want to rotate the resistor, but
I don't want to rotate the resistor because I want to stack them.
I know, but
I can
you're
do
going to
this.
you're going to end up having to rotate something.
There's lots of ways to skin this cat.
I understand.
All right, so
Okay, so let's do this. You've gotten rid of the symbol or the label for touch 1.
let's start from scratch so that what should it look like?
Okay, so move everything into a nice big open space, and I'll walk you through what it should look like.
Yeah, because they don't have to be right here. I got plenty of room.
No, they're gonna be okay. So what you need is one end of the resistor to ground.
One end of the resistor to ground.
Yeah. So you can there you go.
Okay.
The other end of the resistor is going to have a label, touch 1.
Damn it. Which copy, paste, double click.
Yeah, touch 1. Assign that to the other end of the resistor.
Oh, and also sometimes if you don't want to click something to move it, just M.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to move this out of the way.
So
Now it also has to be on that same pin that touch 1 is on.
Okay, so I'll just draw a wire.
how do you delete a wire? Just X.
Select it and delete.
All right. So how do you get test point again?
The test point is a symbol.
symbol,
So
yeah.
we did A for add,
Uh-huh.
and then we typed in test, and it'll get down to test point.
Okay.
And just selected the first one.
So his is like when I rotate it, his is nicely. Mine is just.
As you saw, it took a few iterations to get it to where it seems nice. Now, if it looks confusing, are you sure you're rotating the entire unit and not just like a label or something? I can't see your screen. I'm just
Yeah.
extrapolating.
Okay, so what is touch one? I don't understand. Like, what is the concept of touch one?
Touch one is a label that ties it to a GPIO. See here, I added it to the GPIO here.
Oh,
Yeah.
But and it's not intuitive here, and now I see your point, Braden.
Yeah,
Because by doing that wire across, it's less intuitive
it's
that
very
that
much
it's
less
two separate
intuitive.
things connected.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this, I'm going to move it. Oh, I just moved the label. Okay, move the whole thing down here and rotate it, like Braden said.
And now you can rotate the text back so it doesn't take up so much space.
Like that?
Yeah,
And get
you
rid
can
of that
move it
stupid
around.
wire.
Yeah, you can move test points so it's off the end, and you can do anything you want to make it look pretty.
so touch point or touch one goes to what?
Touch one.
A GPIO pin.
It connects to the same point, the same side of the resistor as test point, but the label represents another connection over here at the GPIO. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
So electrically, what's happening with a touch sensor is the code drives, in this case, GPIO2 high. So it's got a current on it. And then it immediately drives it to ground. And so it'll dissipate the current. And the reason why we have a 1 megohm resistance is slows down that dissipation process.
So you're detecting that fluctuation in the code?
Well, yes. And what happens is if you're actually touching touch points, so if you're actually touching the physical medium, you act as a capacitor, which means when it drove the pin high, it actually charged this human capacitor, right? And so then when it drives the pin to ground, it will take longer to get back down to zero. So if you're not touching it, it goes to zero very quickly. If you are touching it, it goes to zero more slowly. And that's how it detects whether or not the thing's being touched.
So the touch point goes to touch one.
Yep.
Test point and touch one are both connected to one side of the resistor.
And the other side of the resistor is ground. And all the magic is happening by GPIO2, by the Pico doing this toggling of driving it high, driving it low.
You don't have to completely understand it, but get the drawing right, and then we'll clone
Yeah,
it.
my drawing has like touch one on the left, test points to the top, but I think it's all.
If the anchor point for your
if your touch point and your label are on one side of the resistor and ground is on the other, you're good.
Okay.
And they're both anchored, right? There's no square left over showing that it's not anchored.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, Bob, if you want, you can actually rotate that TP.
Rotate the TP.
There you go. And now go ahead and clone that as many times as you want.
All right.
Select the whole thing. Yep, just like that. Control copy, control paste.
I like these because they're almost free, right? You could do a lot with them. Like example, I don't know what you guys are planning on designing here, but if you wrote some code that lights up one of your LEDs for each of the touch pads that you're touching, then maybe you could write something that if you slide your finger along the pads, it animates them. Just a thought.
Yep.
Or maybe like have a delay, so if you slide it along, it'll like look like it's your fingers sliding along it and fade off.
Sure.
Yeah. Lots of things you can do with them. Does the group want to put a buzzer speaker on this thing?
Can JLC place it? I mean, I didn't tell anybody to buy any buzzers, so
I would hold off on that. Let's make this a little bit simpler right now.
Okay.
now edit all your net labels.
Actually, you don't even have to do that.
Okay, tell me what to do.
I think I can't read on your screen. I think it's under tools.
Tools,
I think there's an assign net labels or something similar to that. Annotate.
annotate schematic.
Yep. Click annotate button down the bottom and close, and you'll be done. Annotate and then close.
Well,
Well,
that
they're
does
all-
the TPs, but that doesn't do the net labels.
Yeah, so they're all touch one.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So
Bob
back
is
to the
right.
thing, edit the net labels, and then you'll have to add the copies of the net labels to random GPIO pins.
Yeah,
But it
so
is
you get
nice
this
when
one.
they match the TP numbers, so you're less confused when you're looking at it a year from now. What the hell was I thinking?
Yeah, well.
So let's copy 2, throw it. And I'm not aware of any like restrictions on what pins can be used for these, right? There might be some, but I'm not aware of them.
I didn't have any issues when I made my demo board. That's not what I'm discovering on this new chip I'm working on.
It's very restrictive about what goes where.
Well, there's a lot of magic under the covers if you use the right pins, and so you want to use the right pins, which makes it kind of restrictive.
All right. So what you should have is TP1 through TP6 labeled touch 1 through touch 6 on the capacitive test points themselves and on the GPIOs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let me know, those who are playing along, when you get to that point.
Give me a minute.
Take your time. I'm here for you, Kevin. Just for you.
And then I'll
This
show
is
you a
just-
shortcut for assigning footprints.
For assigning what?
Footprints. We forgot to assign the footprint.
Oh,
to
of
the
course
touch
we
point.
did.
To the touch point. There's a shortcut though. You can assign them all at once.
But do you have to have a footprint?
If you don't have a footprint, you're going to get an error when you try to actually do your PCB.
Oh, so I didn't have test points, so I didn't have errors. All right.
So we'll let everybody catch up, and then I'll show you the shortcut.
What do you need, Kevin?
I think I'm good.
What can we do to make your life better?
I mean, marry into wealth. Other than that,
Can I digress for a second and tell you about my week?
yeah.
Yeah.
This week, since Friday, this is why I've been so out of pocket. Well, partly my kid was visiting, but I was tasked with building an Active Directory environment.
Mhm.
I haven't touched Active Directory since 2012.
Holy shit.
So today I have a full Active Directory environment with a file share and roaming profiles and fog deployed workstations
Dude, that's cool.
in a week.
It's amazing.
Nights and days, right?
I still got it.
Wow. That's amazing.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's the shortcut? All right. Braden disappeared. He's muted.
No, I was talking on mute. So normally what you do is you either double click on it or highlight it and hit the letter E or anything like that. But instead, if you go to, it's hard to see on your screen, I think it's tools. And I'll go back to tools. Edit. What are the two? Edit. Is it what's below
symbol fields, library links.
Symbol fields.
Okay.
This will list all your symbols.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And it's smart enough to group similar ones. So now,
and it also lets me know that I don't have a footprint assigned for SW1 and SW2.
Exactly. So this is a quick way to look at your current assignment of all your footprints. So in the field for footprint for TP, click there. There's your little library symbol. Click that. And now go down to touch point or test point. Sorry, I keep saying touch. Test point.
All right. I'm going to have to make this bigger.
And truthfully, they never intended test points to be big. So we're not going to be able to find a really, really big test point, but as long as we put enough space between them, they're still quite usable. Look for the one that's
4
4
millimeters?
millimeters. You want a
Yeah.
round one. Yeah, it's like 4 millimeters or 5 millimeters round.
There's a square one.
Yeah. What's the biggest square one?
4.
Yeah, you can get
So
a
here's
4
4
round.
round.
So there you go. Double click that.
So it's 4 by 4 millimeter.
Well, you're using the 4 round one, so it's just a 4 millimeter round or 4 millimeter diameter.
If you click on it, you should see it to the right. So look for the
Oh.
round one. It's below the square one. Test point pad D 4.0 millimeters.
I see the square. I don't see the round.
Go down about 6.
Keep scrolling, yeah.
Okay. 4. Yep.
And
Got
just
it?
double click. Yep, double click it. And there you go. You've now assigned that footprint to all of those pads in one shot.
And thanks for making it this way, because now I see that I don't know what happened. I thought we assigned one for the switch, but I guess we didn't.
And we did for the double pole, single pole double throw, but not the other one.
Oh.
Whatever that means.
Which
Yeah.
switch do you suggest for a switch? Or
We were guessing on this one. We actually didn't know.
because I'm looking at all of them and they are tiny.
Yeah,
They're
they
like
are
dip
tiny.
switches.
Oh no, you don't want the dip switches.
What do I want? It's not listed under SP. Never mind.
It's under button.
Uh-oh.
It's not under switch. It's under button.
There's
I
a
think I
button.
broke something. Let's wait a
Ooh.
second and see if it comes back.
So if you're yeah.
Oh, this is not good.
Okay, so for everybody else, there's a button that's on the top of the library browser for like selecting a footprint, and it will show the 3D view of whatever you're looking, whatever part you're looking at. So you can get an idea of what it looks like.
Well, does this thing autosave at all?
Yeah,
Yes.
but it might not have autosaved in a while.
Oh, we came back. All right, first thing I'm going to do is escape out of this
And
and
save.
save. Get out. Oh, wait, I want to hit OK there.
You want to hit the other button.
That's probably why I did it, because I still had that dialog open. File, save. Okay. All right, what am I doing again? I'm choosing
A switch.
a switch.
Yeah. Display had a suggestion on how to get
Okay.
a 3D view of the button that you were trying to select.
So what was the SMD one? I'm sorry. Still there.
We haven't chosen it yet. All right. So say it again, display.
Okay, so you see the one at the top row where it's like that big black box.
Copal.
Yeah, you click that, and it will give you a 3D view of your currently selected footprint.
Okay.
And if they have a 3D model of it, it'll also be 3D, so
Okay.
you can
So
see how big the switch is.
there we go. Push 1P 1T. Does that look good?
It's a little small, but I don't know.
I mean, how do you know how small it is?
It should say down at the bottom in that in the information row at the very bottom of the dialog box. It should give you some hints to it. The other thing you can do is you can do what Display was just saying and see if there's a 3D view of it, a 3D rendering of it. No,
Just the pads.
Well, no, that's a reference. So if you select something like that's not a reference, it should have a 3D model of it.
What are you talking about?
Select another part and then click that 3D icon. That one's also a reference, I think.
Well, they all have a reference field that gets
Right.
filled in when you do annotation. Let's try this one. This one looks a little fancier.
Which one is it? The PTS 1255. Wait.
You can also click anywhere within the window to rotate it.
Just drag it
Yeah,
in.
just like the regular 3D viewer. Yeah, it's the same
Mhm.
3D viewer. Okay. I'm going to say I'll just pick one, and we'll go back later.
Yep.
What?
The one you said before,
This one?
that kind of looks similar. I can't tell though.
It's nice big pads. That's a good sign.
So
All right.
KSC7.
KSC7XXJ.
All right. All right.
And you know, this is a back and forth, right? You pick something in here as a placeholder. You find out JLC doesn't have it. You find one that they do have. You go find the KiCad footprint to throw in here, and you know, make adjustments later.
Mhm.
This is part of the pain in the ass that we'll get into next week, because I guarantee we will find something that JLC doesn't have and have to revise something.
Actually, I have a suggestion for a button.
Okay.
It's like at the very bottom of the list.
So how do we get back to that
SPST.
symbols field table? Where is that at?
The books. Oh, tools, edit symbol fields.
Okay.
Bottom of the list here.
Very bottom. SPST, I think. The one is TL3342.
Okay.
It's the very bottom one.
Oh, it's actually got a button, and it looks very much like the.
All right.
tree
So
of
what
life.
is that one again? I'm sorry. Where
The last one on the list in button switch SMD, the TL3342.
and this is replacing.
SW1 and SW2.
Not the push button. Oh yeah, SW1.
Yes,
okay.
the push button.
Okay. TL3342.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it actually has a picture. Thank you, display, for finding one with a picture.
I think you selected pretty much the only ones that didn't have pictures.
Oh, that's what I do. So, is there anything else we need to mess with on here before we go back over to PCB view?
The switch, I think. Did we get one that had a
Yep.
Yes,
had a model?
it's got a footprint. Yes. If you go back into tools, edit symbol fields, they're all populated now. There are no. This is what stood out to me, and that was helpful. That there was something that didn't have a footprint. So that's two things I've learned tonight. One is test points, and two is edit symbol fields. Yay. This is why we do these things. So I'm going to go back over to PCB and see what happens. Is anybody scared?
Oh man,
Ooh.
I have like 10 symbols that I need to add, and they're all a mess of wires.
So update PCB, do some updating here, no errors. Yay, look at all that stuff. What a mess. I feel like I'm going to be expanding my board, which I think we decided last week anyway, because we didn't really have room for the battery holder in some cases. So I'll put these off to the side for a minute. I do love the curved lines. That's three things I've learned in this class. Okay. So I'm editing my edge.
How'd you do that exactly?
I selected the edge, and now I'm just dragging a corner to make it bigger. And this is a can of worms, right? When you do this, and then you start moving things around that you've already drawn traces to, they don't follow. You're going to have to. Right? Is there a way to make them follow?
To some extent, except you're going to find a bunch of errors. It doesn't. Dragging a component is relatively new in KiCad 6, and it's not complete. The other thing you want to do, since you've now expanded the size of your edge cut,
undo the fill.
You want to expand the size of your fill.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Except you can't do it that way
because it's not a straight line. I mean, I can. It just takes longer.
There's a faster way to do it, though. I was going to show you that real quick. So Control Z to undo those things.
Okay.
So now select your fill line. Grab the dot in the middle.
The square? Oh, this.
No. So I was looking at the top, right? There's a dot. So it's got and just pull that straight up.
Okay. And then this one.
Except you probably have more. Okay, that's what I was afraid of. You've got no. You would want the round dot.
Oh. Yeah, this is balls of fun. All right.
Yeah, it's because you had extra points in there, but that's all right.
I always had extra points. Okay. Wonky rectangles. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So what's the
So if you were to
say I
select,
just wanted to move this over.
yeah, if you hit D for drag, it will actually try to drag, but as you can see, it's got all these conflicts.
And it won't settle because of the conflicts?
Yeah.
Okay. So I
So-
would probably want to just cut those green lines and then do it. Cut
Or
the
just-
green lines
just
to cross across.
easily just move, instead of doing a drag, just move the Pico and then reconnect things up. Dragging a component works for simple components and short distances, and that's about it.
Gotcha.
We all had this great idea that it was going to work for everything, and it didn't.
Nothing works for everything.
So
Can
now
I-
you can just drag that over. There you go.
Now we're back to where we were last week. There's
What?
something preventing that from making that connection.
Let me see if I can zoom in and see what you're trying to do. Oh, yeah, of course, there's something that's preventing that. We changed the routing.
What did we change the routing?
The battery, that's a battery pin, right?
Oh, yeah, it doesn't go there
The battery
anymore.
goes to a switch, and then the switch goes to VBus.
Right. I'm glad you noticed that. Is everyone
was
following
busy-
along with what just
No.
happened?
No.
Okay, so I went to drag the VBus line back to VBus after I moved my Pico, and it wouldn't. And not for this. Well, that's not dragging, and not for the same reason we had last week. So I went to drag this.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, we
And
can't
it's not
connect the
connected.
battery
I'm like,
directly to
why?
VBus because in our schematic we no longer connect the battery directly to VBus.
Right. So let's make some sense out of this, right? Let's move some things and get them out of the way. Let's move this. That goes to GP7. Boy, this is going to be a mess, isn't it?
And this is a nightmare because all the buttons are together and
That's GP5. You just grab things and move them till they make sense, right?
Hmm.
GP4.
Yeah. So what I would actually do in a case like this, when you're having touch sensors, is while it's great to have them closely aligned to where they're going to be wired, in this particular case, we want to think about how they're going to be used. And since we talked about most likely they're going to be used together, what I would actually do is take touch 1 through touch 6, kind of loosely organize them off the board a little bit.
And then move them in as we decide where they're going to go.
No, we're going to move on in as a group. But so what we want to do is we want to grab touch 1 through touch 6, get them kind of spaced where we think they're going to be, just roughly.
All right. I'll just do them in order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Zoom a little bit.
Yep.
I think that's 5.
Probably.
And 6.
Okay, so those are probably a bit close together for usability sake. Don't worry about aligning them yet. So drag touch 1 up to give it some more space. A little bit more. No, don't bother moving the others. Just move one of them. Okay, now group select all of them. So do a bounding box out of all of them. Don't forget 1 up there. There you go. Right with the mouse over one of them. Right click. Alignment and
Align,
distribution.
distribute?
Yep. So
Okay.
align them all.
Distribute vertically.
Yep.
Oh, that's cute.
And now align them centered.
Oh, you know how many hours I lost to doing this manually?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm showing you this.
Vertical center, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oops, nope.
wrong.
Horizontal center. The number of times I've made that mistake is pretty funny.
Okay, that's nice.
There you go.
Oh my God, if I know that would like.
Yep, I know.
Oh my
I know
God.
exactly what you're saying.
So what did you do?
it-
You selected all of them and what did what?
right click, and there's an alignment option, align and distribute. And so you can align them so that they're all in a nice even row, and then you can distribute them, which basically spaces them out evenly.
So you align what?
We distribute vertically to spread them out evenly vertically, and then align to horizontal center so that they're all on the same axis. So if they're all selected, you can right click on any one of them to do that trick.
All right. And then we just got to route all these. Otherwise, we're not going to get a report card or whatever you call
Correct.
it. Design rules.
So one thing about the placement of the Pico
Uh-huh.
is, since it has a USB connector on one end, you probably want that USB somewhere near an edge. There you go.
So align the edge to the edge.
Yep. And now you'll be able to easily access that USB connector.
Not like I haven't had that experience. All right.
Yeah. And since we have a pile of resistors, we could do the same thing with the resistors we just did with the touch points.
Okay. Except I can't see the damn resistor numbers. Oh, there they are. Yeah, they're big.
You gotta zoom way in on them.
Where would you place them? Like 6, for example.
I tend to place them close to the touch point, just because then I have a single trace running to the resistor and then jumping over to the touch point. And then the other end of the resistor is just ground. So it just makes it easy.
Okay. So roughly there, and then I'll align distribute.
Except rotate it probably. 'Cause if you zoom way in on that, people will see what's going on here. So if you rotate that, there we go.
Gotcha.
Now the
up.
trace comes down, hits touch, and jumps over, and it's all nice and even. And then yes, once you've got all the resistors where you want them, you can do distribute and align, and everything will look pretty again.
Sorry, I'm jumping around a lot. I can't see. How do you? Okay.
Yeah, and here's another trick. If you've got a case where you can't find a part in a pile like that, Bob, jump to the schematic for a moment. Yeah, after you've placed that one. There you go. Jump to the schematic, select R4. Now with that highlighted, now jump back to your PCB. There it is.
Oh, nice.
And now hit M. And you can
Because
move
it's
it.
still selected.
It's still selected.
Beautiful.
And then rotate into position and release.
This is great.
Because
you've been so helpful during this class, I'm going to give you half of what I make personally from teaching this class.
Which is nothing, I realize. So the trick of selecting it in the schematic and that will then in turn highlight it in the PCB becomes really helpful when you have dozens and dozens of a part. Like if you end up with lots and lots of neopixels and you can't figure out exactly which one is the one you're looking for, just select it in the schematic and then it will be highlighted in the PCB as well.
And it works the opposite way as well. If I select it here.
Yeah, if you were to select
move
one
over
of those touch points and then jump over to the schematic, it's already highlighted.
Okay, so I'm going to highlight all 6 of these, and I'm going to right click on one of them and align distribute vertically, and align distribute, align horizontal.
There you go.
Didn't make much of a change, but now I know it's perfect. All right, so now we can move this whole bunch over, say to here if we wanted to.
Yep. And if you want to make your life even a bit easier, go ahead and do the wires between the resistors and the touch points now where you've got plenty of space.
Gotcha. And we'll just do that. Yeah, okay. That's wire, right? That's route tracks, yeah. So
just X. There you go.
X. What is X? X.
X is trace.
Okay.
They changed it between KiCad 5 and KiCad 6.
What was it before?
It used to be W.
That explains it.
which made kind of some sense. It would be wire, which was what it is in a schematic. But yeah.
Okay, so they're all touching that.
Yeah. So now select the whole thing and place it where you want within your.
Where we think I want it. That's enough room, right?
Yeah, you can make it fit easy enough.
I'll make it sort of centered.
Yeah. I mean, if we have to, we can move those resistors closer to the touchpads as a group.
Ah. I can just drag that, right?
Yeah, you need to do a drag. Is it not letting us do a drag as a group?
Nope.
That's odd. I thought we did. Oh well.
It's D, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not doing anything.
Hmm.
All right, well, I'll just move these 4.
Or just move the Pico over.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of room, right? Yeah, I'm not encroaching on the battery space. That was the issue, because we realized last week that the battery being behind the Pico is a problem for people that are gonna use the through hole headers of the Pico rather than
Yeah.
use the castellated, and that's what Kevin plans to do. So
There you go. Matter of fact, if you wanted to, you could even put female headers on the board and male pins on the Pico, and you could plug it and unplug it.
I like that, because then when you kill it,
You can just plug another one in.
yeah. But that's up to these people. All right, so where do you think we should put the switch, the power switch?
I'd put
Maybe
it on
over-
the same. I'd put it
over
on the
here.
same line as, or the same, yeah, the same line as the, or same edge as the USB connector.
Over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't added the USB connector yet, have we?
It's
USB
already in there.
connectors on the
Mm.
Pico.
Right.
Yeah, and you want to align the white line edge of that with the edge of the board. There you go.
We want the switch protruding, right?
Just a tiny bit.
Otherwise,
like-
fingernail party.
Yeah, and none of us have fingernails.
Oh, it's not just me? All right.
Which one's the?
And I'm just moving these other switches over to here.
For fun and giggles.
So this worked out. I mean, this was all like kind of cobbled together, but I could theoretically associate each of these pads with an LED and make it do stuff. Like,
Yeah, and that's all. And that's
touch
all
a pad, it cycles a color, something like that.
and realize that you can be touching multiple pads. And so things you might do is you might have 3 of those pads represent R, G, and B. And then you can set, some combination. And then when you press a button, the LED becomes that color.
Mm. All right, that's software. That's out of my realm. So let's get rid of the rat's nest.
Fix the wires that we broke. Yeah.
Man,
Are you having fun yet?
a little lost. I think I'm gonna have to rewatch this one.
What do you what's holding you up?
I think of just a lot of the concepts.
Oh, this is back. This is on the back. Yeah. All right. What's the V?
Yeah. So
No.
get it close. Get it close. Are you doing a drag or a wire? You're doing a drag. You can't do a V at this point. You got to just stop that and start.
I'm not doing a drag. I was just drawing. I was routing.
Yeah, but you're not what? Oh, is that? I can't tell what the symbol is there. Yeah. So hit V.
I must not be. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah. So find the end of that and hit X. There you go. Now you're wiring. You're putting a trace in. Get kind of close. Hit V. Click. Drag. Done.
Does V
Yay.
go to does V go to the back, Braden?
V swaps back. Well, when you're routing a trace,
Mhm.
V does 2 things. It drops a via and flips the side. So if you're
Okay.
on the back, it goes to the front. If you're on the front, it goes to the back.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
And so as soon as you hit V, it will place the via, but you're still dragging. Then you click to anchor it, and then you continue to start, you can continue to do your wiring or your trace, and it'll just be in the other color.
Okay.
Well, I hate to get out of here, but I've got drill tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to go.
All right.
Okay,
See
you haven't said much
Betsy.
tonight, but that's okay.
Yeah, playing catch up. I'll catch y'all later.
See you
All
later,
right.
Bets.
Later.
See you.
So for people to have this set up, do you have shove, or what's the other option here? I can't think of what the other option is. There's three options. One is to highlight.
What
if
is
there's
that?
a
That's under,
conflict.
is that under board setup?
No, it's under preferences, I think now.
Okay.
Routing preferences.
I'm going to save because that came up really slow and that made me
Yeah.
nervous. Under route, interactive router settings.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
highlight collisions, shove, or walk around.
Yeah, so highlight is what we saw when we were trying to drag the entire Pico. Lines started flickering in color. So
And
doesn't
it won't
actually-
let you place it.
It
when
won't
it's-
let you place it. Walk around says it will try to find a route without basically going around whatever you're conflicting. My favorite is shove, and you'll see why in a moment. So
All
if
right.
we now go back, I got to zoom up so I can see what you're doing. So now if you wanted to, yeah, just drag it right up there and get it into place.
How many things will it shove at a time?
It'll shove as many as it can.
Oh, look at
until-
that.
Yeah, except you don't want that.
No, I kind of do.
Big ugly mess. There we go. The reason why shove is really helpful, so connect that one up to the pin. There you go. Now, if you wanted to make those traces all look nice and stacked,
Yeah,
take the innermost one.
this one,
I was thinking
this one.
Yeah, that one. Just
Okay.
single click it. Oh no, you're still in routing mode, so escape. Single click, hit D, and now start pushing it. And now stop. You push it a little too
Okay,
far.
before it gets ugly.
Yeah, before it gets ugly, right?
Okay.
And now you've got that nice stacked set of traces
Yeah.
that you see on a lot of boards.
And we don't worry about the distance because we've already set the rules for what we believe is a safe distance, which is the defaults. So
So
Exactly.
SW1 has a trace going from button one to button one, like in each of the corners. I guess we don't route those. Those are just internally routed.
yeah,
It's
they're the
because those
same.
are grounds.
Okay. Well,
Oh,
not
I
the
see what you're saying. From left to right.
They're
Right.
tied.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about routing those, correct?
Actually, I have a funny feeling you are going to have to route those.
You don't think
Oh.
they're tied internally?
No. Well, even if they are tied internally,
It doesn't
The-
hurt to route them.
no, I think what you're going to find is the design rules checker doesn't understand that internally the switch has those two things routed
Okay.
together because it has created separate pads.
So
Okay,
you could either like gamble and tell DRC to ignore stuff, or you could account for it.
Yeah, I would just route it just to
Yeah.
be safe.
So Bob, another example. There you go. Another example of using the shove. Once you
I
get those
guess I
all.
don't need to do
don't
that to the
need to
ground
do
side. Go ahead.
So if you go back over to where we were playing around with the touchpads.
Yeah.
If you select the one you're currently highlighting and shove that one,
I
you'll
think I know
stack
where you're
all-
going with this.
Yep, you'll stack all those up to a point. You can't stack them too far because
Ooh.
yeah, you don't want to go quite that far. You typically want to go as far as the closest pin. There you go, right there.
And then
Yeah, you can just tuck that one back up in place.
For reference, how do you get to that path shoving?
That
the
is
settings
under
for that?
route.
Oh, under
Route
route.
interactive
Got
preferences.
it.
All right. So what else are we missing? So this is all ground, right? This should be taken care of. What do we got over here?
And you have
Ground,
to
ground.
Gotta wire up the switches.
Oh, V-bus. All right. Let's do,
What is it? What is that?
what is what?
Hold on. SW3.
SW3 is the physical power switch.
Okay.
Did you not add that?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
did. Okay.
And you know the numbers aren't always the same depending on how you.
Ooh, what are you doing there, Bob?
Well, I didn't like the right angle, so I
Yeah,
used G to
but
move it.
I believe you can use ground to fine tune the paths rather than having
yeah,
it snap.
you can drag that corner out without having to go weird angles.
Say
What do you
ground,
mean?
I meant control. Whoops.
And what is it to go back? It's V to go to the back or to. All right.
I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you explain?
So yeah.
Well, now
Uh-oh,
I'm
yeah.
stuck. What happened?
I don't know.
Did I freeze again?
Looks it.
The hell I got running on here? Oh, it's Zoom. That's what it is. Okay. Why can't I escape out of that?
I got into this scenario and I basically restarted.
I can still save, right? Yep.
Yep.
All right. I'll get out of this and back in and see what happens. My giant ass window. All right. How do I get to the main? Here. Okay. It's all your fault, display. All right, what were you telling me to
I
do?
apologize. While you're routing, hold control to fine tune the paths rather than having them snap. But
Well, I'm not routing now, so
right.
So there's two tricks to do. You should be able to just grab the corner and drag. Oh, not move. And
how do you drag?
just so, yeah,
Like
right
that.
there. And now there you go. You got your 45.
Okay.
And I'm gonna show you another trick. If you don't want to do that, yeah. By the way, that is one other thing you could have done if you didn't want to come down underneath. Like, say for instance,
I could have went between these pads.
yeah, there's enough space to fit a trace through there.
Are the resistors tied together? I guess they're tied together, right?
The ground side of them is.
Yeah, the ground side of
What
them.
about the positive? Because it looks like they're going. I have them vertically, like you're
What do you
doing,
mean positive?
Towards the Pico.
Okay, so like that wire that's going from the top to the, connecting them, I guess. What is that wire?
There should be a wire from a GPIO pin on the Pico to one pad of the resistor. And then there should be a wire from that same pad of the resistor to
I
the
see.
touch point or
Okay.
test point.
Okay, the touchpad.
And then,
Okay.
yeah, and then the other pad of the resistor should be left unconnected to anything because it'll become ground when we do the flood fill or the flood fill.
And struggling to imagine what this would look like on an oscilloscope when you touch it, but
What do you mean?
uh
Oh, the signal itself?
yeah, like what
Yeah.
it would look like, but
So what you would see on an oscilloscope is if you weren't touching it, right? Every time the code went to test, there you go, Bob. Every time the code went to test the touch point, it would go high and for less than a millisecond or so, and then it would immediately go low, right? So you'd see basically a square wave or one square of a wave. If you were touching the pad when it did it, you would see it go high and then you would see it go low over a longer period of time and a curve. Provided you were using triggers correctly. But we're not getting there.
I think a lot is just gonna be practice. And...
Yes.
All right, Braden.
I've gotten a lot of practice this week.
Yeah.
I
don't
just
have to
decided
follow
I
your
didn't.
Twitter.
I just decided I didn't want that via anymore, via. So I routed around the outside to stay on the top side the whole time.
Yeah,
Because
which one is
originally
the-
V-Bus, was battery to V-Bus, and that could be front or back since they're both through hole. Adding the switch changed that. So
How did you learn to route them so good, Braden? Though, like I see your video, like they're really, really precise. Like, is there a strategy that you use to?
hundreds of hours.
Oh, that's not what I want to hear. That's very
I feel-
unfortunate.
It's
Because like
feel like
I
you
see
could-
your videos and I'm like, oh, they're all perfect. They look like
Kevin, how is it that you write so much good functional MicroPython?
oh yeah, hours. Yeah, painful. Yeah. I was hoping there's a trick. Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, so this one, you said I should be able. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Just drag it up. Okay. I guess
so
it depends on whether I grab the
yeah.
vertical side or the
Um,
horizontal side, which
yeah.
one moves.
So I'm
right?
going to show you a trick. So pull that back down to a hard 90-degree corner. And so let's assume that you try over and over and over again and it doesn't work. You can't get that thing to drag a nice 45. Move a little bit to the right. Hit X. Go there. See?
Oh,
I just moved to 90
It's-
degrees.
Look at
Well, no,
that.
but now you can drag that other piece around.
Fancy.
But it's smart enough to know that if you start on the same trace you end on, it'll just cut the piece out that you just bypassed.
Right. All right. What else am I missing? I wish there was a way to turn off. Can I turn off Rat's Nest just for ground?
Just refill your fill. Just hit B. And that answers your question.
Oh, so there's some missing stuff. Okay.
Yep. Now hit Control B, and you can go back to having it nice, easy to work with.
All
There you
right.
go.
So let's connect these up. Is this right? Yeah. I don't need to be on the backside anymore. Oh, where is that going? Oh, that can go anywhere, can it? Where's it trying to go? To there.
your beat.
Hang on. I gotta get rid of that other wire first. How do I get rid of a whole length of wire without?
Okay, so select any piece of it,
Yep.
and now hit U.
U.
Hit U again.
Oh, nice.
It'll keep inching along. So one U will select all the segments up to a via or a connection point, and U again will then just keep going through the whole thing. And then you can just nuke the whole trace.
All right, so I'm going to try this again. What's blocking that?
Where's it trying? You're running into the trace of the power line to your NeoPixels.
Oh, that one. Okay, I didn't see that because it's faded. Okay, so that doesn't need to be there either because that's just going off to nowhere.
Yeah. So select U and delete. There it goes.
Useful. All right. Now back to here. Back to wire.
Keyboard is your friend.
Yeah, the keyboard shortcuts are amazing on this. Like that's what I'm just doing constantly. It just makes it so easy. Yeah.
Where's this
So
going?
since we're on the topic of routing,
Are we?
are we?
Yes,
I had to leave for a minute.
we're actually routing. Yes.
So when do you get rid of
Um,
that green thing there, Bob? That weird thing, yeah. Go ahead.
You. Delete.
Does Braden or Bob, do you either of you have experience with like automated routing software?
Ooh. Would you recommend against that, Braden? Like, because I can.
Yes.
I was gonna
See,
think-
that's what I was about to ask. That was my other question.
I don't know anyone
Yeah.
who actually uses it. Bob, you don't actually have to do it that way.
Okay.
So I think you can stay on the top side. So Control Z to get rid of that thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you can see on the top side. So if you come off of, what is it, GPIO 13,
Yeah.
follow it down. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Flip sides again. Just hit V and it'll flip to the other side. There you go.
Okay.
Pull it down, pull it across, and just wrap around the pin. So just do a little, there you go.
Yeah, I guess that there's no harm in that, right?
Nope, there's no harm in that at all.
My superstition says there is. My superstition says, like, get it away
Mm.
from that through hole, but I guess that's not real, because it's
No, I
going
mean,
to
if
be
you wanna give
buried
it-
under
if you wanna
solder
give it a
mass.
little-
No one's going
I
to
mean,
care.
I tend to give it a little more breathing room than minimum, but it's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Okay.
That doesn't look great, but
No, but you know how many, you'll
Once
find
the
that
mask
almost
is
every,
on, no one's going to see it.
you'll find that on almost every board.
All right. So what else?
I think we're good on time. We're over an hour and a half.
Are you ready to stop? Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, for me, I'm full up.
He's saturated. Yeah, okay.
All right. So I got the NeoPixel data line.
just,
I can route
just
that.
do a via.
No.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
gonna need
to.
a VIA on that one.
Nope. Down under here.
Oh, that's right. No, so actually, that actually brings up a good point. So now what I would suggest doing is a little bit of dragging of a few items, just so that, yeah, you can just
No,
drag
just
that a
push
little
push the via to the minimum.
and now you can, yeah, there you go. You're fine.
Yeah.
Pretty clean. Not horrible. I mean,
And
there's some
entertaining for the future viewers, right?
cleanup. Yeah, I mean, there's some cleanup, but it's
All
not
right.
too bad.
What is that? Is that
The two
oh,
switches.
the buttons? Okay, yeah, that's important.
You could probably move him to the other side, or not.
I
never
could.
mind.
No, let's do that.
There's such an art to this. Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of decision, a lot of tiny decisions. Many
So-
hours of tiny decisions.
Yeah. So Control B to get rid of your flow, your flood, and select the whole. Yep, I was gonna say select the whole thing because then you'll get that trace that you just left behind.
Fuck the trace. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. No, you're right. Control B. Select the whole thing, including the stupid cross trace. Boom.
Yeah, there you go.
All
There you
right.
go.
Very nice.
Now let's tie this shit in.
Yeah, you want to square those guys up?
Oh yeah. Right click, align to vertical center.
Yeah, you see what they
Ooh,
did?
wow.
That's huge. Yeah,
The
that's
trace.
That's a great tool. That's a great tool.
I knew that was gonna happen. I was just watching.
You can
That's
move the
not
trace
cool.
up and it'll work, right?
I think you can lock something into something, but I don't think it's necessary there.
No, just
I'll just do it manually.
yeah, and I do it manually quite often. I'll just
So next week is going to be ordering parts. Is that right? Just so I
Well,
understand.
next week, if everybody's ready, we'll go through the whole process of ordering boards.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
what you need to do in KiCad to get the files ready, how you need to go through the process in JLC, and I'll probably learn something, and y'all will probably learn something, and because I've been doing it one way for 2 years. And
There might be 2 more lessons, right? Because I mean, do you think we'll get through that all in one lesson? Because that's a lot, like ordering all the parts. And what do you think?
we'll see. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I can keep doing it if y'all want to keep doing it, and then I want to
The-
have another one a few weeks later when everybody gets their boards in, like show and tell.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the trick with JLC and as Bob has shown here, you end up sort of going back and forth. It becomes iterative.
Yeah, yeah.
Is you're going to say, okay, I've chosen this switch.
Mhm.
JLC says, well, that's an extended part, not a default part. And then you find the default part and you go, well, that's close enough. And so then you go and change your footprint to match the default part. And you might have to do a little bit of tweaking of your routing. And so you'll go back and forth to get this whole process done.
Yeah.
And that's specifically because you're trying to match the parts that JLC lets you use at a much reduced rate. If you were building your own board, you wouldn't care about that.
Mhm.
So we did not succeed in getting in this lesson to design and art stuff. So I don't know how we're going to fit that in. But
I think, Bob, honestly, you showed us some of the tools. I mean,
you think you
maybe-
can manage from that?
Yeah, I
You
think.
can add a text, you can add shape. I'd love to get into some of the more advanced things like bringing an image in and turning it into stuff, but
We can save that for next time.
okay.
Well, I think next time we need to order the parts, but maybe we'll have another lesson after that, Bob. Maybe
Well,
If y'all want to stretch it out,
I'd like to
another
stretch
week
it out.
beyond, we can
Yeah, I'd
stretch
like
it
to,
out.
I'd like to stretch it out. I'd like to see the art as a final thing once the thing's
Yeah.
done.
I'll see if I can come up with a short for doing an irregular edge cut.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That's something
Did
I
they-
need to learn. So yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I've got to see if there's an easier way than the way I do it, because the way I do it is relatively straightforward.
Ooh, 3D
But-
view.
Ooh, look at that birdie.
Oh, the Pico isn't loaded in, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't always have the 3D part. Let's see.
I thought
Double
it
click.
did.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't.
E-
Properties. E. Okay. And where is 3D models? So I don't have that.
Well, it may be that it's on it. It's
I'd
on your
rather
machine.
it be without, to be honest with you, because that's actually what the board's going to look like.
True.
It's just my preference, but
Are we not going to be able to order the Pico onto the board?
no,
We
you
to
have
do
to
that
solder
separately?
that. You have to solder
No.
that.
Yeah, you don't get through hole stuff from JLC. You get all the easy to supply and robots install surface mount stuff.
Sounds like something to go over again next week or the week after, depending on.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been good. I think I'm going to spend this week fixing, wiring this up properly and be ready for next week when we do the parts. The parts is important.
Yeah.
A little
Which-
trick that I learned, in I think it's edit. Yeah, if you go to the edit menu, there's global deletions, and you can delete all
edit
tracks and vias. In
If you
case
wanna
you want
rip
to
it-
do it
yeah.
all over again.
Yeah, it's called ripping up a board.
I give
that's-
up.
Rip and tear.
Fuck this.
Yeah, you rip, and I've ripped up all the traces on the board before. You cringe when you do it, but you got to do it sometimes.
Believe me, it
Oh,
was needed.
I just found a glaring problem.
Uh-huh.
This screen, a through-hole screen, is right behind the battery. Now, it would work if you trimmed after you soldered the screen on and before you put the battery holder on.
Yes,
But
it would.
I prefer not to do that.
So
There's a big
Hmm.
empty space right up above the NeoPixels.
Yeah, or down here. There's lots of things we could do with that.
Yeah.
Down here would reduce the complexity of the routing, right?
Yeah, quite a bit.
All right. Y'all don't have to stay for this.
No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm gonna jump off, but this has been great. I'm excited to see about the ordering the parts thing. That's gonna be interesting. I can see that's gonna be a headache.
You delete.
Delete.
Nice. That's much shorter.
Cool.
And it's in the right order too. Yeah, this works.
Nice.
Doing. Doing. Yeah, I don't like either of those that close.
Yeah, and you have to get voltage in there somewhere, right?
Yeah, why isn't that there? I missed that. Where I could probably come down off the Pico to do that on the inside. There we go.
There you go.
Woohoo!
And you've got that extra trace you can get rid of there over there too.
DRC would have told me about that for sure. Unconnected bullshit. Oh, that's not what I want to do.
No, you don't want to delete everything in that case.
No. All right, I'm gonna jet. I'm gonna see you guys later.
see you guys Monday.
See ya.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And
This
You know,
is
you
the
can
fun
clean up
part.
You can clean up that little weird extra chunk of that trace now too.
What chunk of that trace?
Right where
Oh,
your
the
cursor is.
ugly one here?
Yeah, that one.
You don't like that?
No.
I think instead of trying to clean it up, I'll just redraw it.
No, I think you need to use it to surround a
What
via
did I do?
just on all sides.
You said V to go to the other side?
Except you don't want to put a V. Yeah, there you go. Just there you go.
Boy, what? I saw you come in. What did I miss?
Why are you connecting GPIO 17 to?
I don't know what did I just do?
All you want to do is clean up that little extra jog in the trays. Just drag it.
Oh, 16, that's why. God damn it. Yeah, I guess I could just drag it. It's not what I wanted to do. Because there's like all these little, you know.
You'll get them out.
There we go. It's like ironing.
I assume this isn't going to be in the video right now, is it?
What?
He's still recording the video, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, to bring a part back up to the front PCB, how do you do that?
What do you mean? Explain.
The OLED that's on the back. I'm trying to get it back up to the front.
Oh,
highlight it
and hit F.
F?
F for flip.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
That's it. Right.
And that's important because, like, you know, the holes are on both sides, so you think it'll work, but no, your electrical wire is important. and that reminds me also, I should have said this during the class. Again, reiterate, double check that your physical device has the same pinout as what you chose, because I've been burned by that. So I'm going to go downstairs, I'm going to pull one of my OLEDs out, and I'm going to make sure it's ground 3v3 SCL SDA.
Yeah, because on my kitchen sink project, I didn't get that right.
One set that I ordered had ground and voltage reversed.
Ooh.
Yeah. Fine for breadboards, but not so good everywhere else.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna need to reroute all of this.
Rip it up.
It's fun,
Oh,
isn't it?
I already did.
If you only knew how much time I spent routing, not so much for this year because it was more straightforward, even though there was a lot of it, but last year because I was new at this and I didn't know all these shortcuts. I mean, moving things around fractions of, millimeters and getting things just right, especially on the silk screens, getting the silk screens just right for the Tree of Life was a challenge.
Yeah. My SAMD21 board right now, I have probably 10 hours of concentrated routing, and it still isn't right.
So what is I want to get the measurement of this board. So I can highlight that and it'll tell me the measurement somewhere. Maybe
E.
properties, E for properties.
Yep, there you go. You have to do the math. You have to subtract X1 and X2.
Okay. All right. So 113 millimeters by, yeah, that's not huge.
Yeah, but I think you need to keep it under 100 by 100. I think, well, at least with PCBWay, and I thought it was with JLC, that their cheap board rate is not to exceed 100 by 100.
Okay.
PCBWay, I know they don't want you to exceed 100 by 100. Then you pay through the nose because it bumps into the commercial bucket.
So one thing I could do is I could move this here.
Yep. And then just snug all the
move all the buttons over.
You'll have to reroute them a little bit, but those are the NeoPixels, but yeah.
NeoPixels, yeah. And they don't affect the back at all, so. And then, a little bit of cleanup, and then let's see.
Pull that whole edge in.
Now let's see what I got. E. Yeah, that's less than 100.
Yeah.
84 to 182. Yeah, good. So I'm not going to do that now, but save that for later.
Any particular shape people are interested in me attempting as a short video?
A shape, like a
Christmas stars.
Yeah, like something complex. Not
What was
like
that?
something complex, not simple geometry. like a Christmas tree or like
A
penis.
snowman.
yeah.
I already have a snowman done. That's why I said a snowman.
There you go.
Or I wonder if you could do a character from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Not with
that
a,
would be
not
a
with
challenge.
a Pico. Not with a Pico.
Well, it could be a really large one.
Oh, it could be a really large one, like that Daft Punk badge or badge,
Right. Big fucking
More
badge.
like template.
Why is that not dragging?
Because it's outside. I don't know. That's a case where just rewiring it is, jump to the middle of the wire and start X. Yeah. X.
What? Oh, am I wrong? No. X. What mode am I in? Start here. Oh, it won't let me do anything outside the...
Yeah. It considers it an invalid trace.
Well, it is invalid, that's for sure.
Now if you select and hit U,
I think I'm getting out of here.
delete. No,
No.
you just you can hit U and it'll delete the right part.
See you later. Bye bye.
Bye. All right.